same mistake. I'm always lost in my own head space. I know it's gonna make my heart ache, but only thinking what I wanna say. When I'm high, I get low, 'cause I know that I'm not with you. Let me go to where I call home, in the arms of someone I knew. You're stuck inside my head. I thought I'd left you, but all that's left is pain instead. While you're sleeping, I'm in pieces, hoping you'd call up again. I'm trapped in a maze, made my mistakes, and it never ends. Oh, I could tell you honestly, while I'm sinking in my Hennessy, that this was never gonna end for me. And now I'm stuck with my own company. You're stuck inside my head. I thought I'd left you, but all that's left is pain instead. While you're sleeping, I'm in pieces, hoping you'd call up again. I'm trapped in a maze, made my mistakes, and it never ends. When I'm high, I get low, because I'm not over you. When I'm home, I'll be on my own, while you're with someone new. Oh, you're stuck inside my head. I thought I'd left you, but all that's left is pain instead. While you're sleeping, I'm in pieces, hoping you'd call up again. Oh no, no, I'm trapped in a maze, made my mistakes, and it never ends. Pain is seeping out, demons taking center stage. Spirits in the crowd, are you not entertained? This world has its way of bringing me to my knees. I don't know which way will put me back on my feet. What's best for me, my destiny. I look up and I'm scared. Oh, 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 I'm in awe.
Alrighty. Is this thing on? Hello, everyone. Let me. Should I just turn that way down? Just turn it way down. We'll try that. What's up, everybody? Let's see. Let me get to the thing, the right screen. Get the right screen. I apologize. Good morning, everyone. Happy spring. This whole time change snuck up on me as usual. It just like happened last night, and I completely forgot about it. All right, hold on one second. So let's see. There are a few people in here. Let's let some more people pile in here. I don't want to. I got to make sure that anybody that plans on reading this book, because we've been talking about doing this since like I don't know, November, December. Got to make sure this is not stoked. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I was reading your thing, stoked. People cannot be spoiled if they plan to read this book, is what I'm saying. Hello, Lady Jen, how are you? Pete Perkins, hello. Sarah, hello. Ask the Cheese, Alex, what's up, man? Diane Harris, how are you? There's the Mazuma. What's up, man? Steph Snow, hello. The Bandersnatch, hello. Diane, I like this time. I just don't like when it changes. It needs to stay this way, and they can stop fucking with it. That's the way I would like it. So anyway. But yeah, it snuck up on me last night. I was sitting there downstairs. I was like, it's already late. I was like 3:30 or something. And I was like, I thought it was just like midnight. And then I kind of had completely forgot about it. Mosquitoes and humidity. Yeah, I don't like that aspect, Steph, but if it would just stay spring or fall, that would be fine. The skeeter is the North Carolina state bird, from my understanding. Bandersnatch, I'm doing okay. I apologize. I scheduled this a little late. I meant to schedule it a lot earlier because I dropped that little video today on the update from Germ about Winds of Winter and all that stuff and the shows that are coming. By the way, can you hear me okay? Am I too loud? Are we good? I don't really know. No, Diane. No, I was not late. I started the music at 10:25. I was going to schedule this for earlier, but I figured I had to eat. I had to wait on my food, and then I figured, it's really like 9:30, right? It's really 9:30. Lady Jen, thank you. Hopefully we can get back in business here on this channel because it's been dead for so long. We had a little decent run there for a few videos with House of the Dragon stuff, but there's really been nothing to talk about. So I did that video yesterday when there was some little speck of information about new shows. So that's why. And actually, that video is not doing bad for a Sunday video and on this channel. I mean, not too bad. Anyways, it was an update that George R. R. Martin put out on his Not a Blog and all that stuff. So anyway, we'll give everybody a few more minutes. What's up, Doc Holiday? There he is. I was trying to hit the button on my Stream Deck, Doc, for Sundrop Cans, but that's for Twitch. But yeah, let's give everybody just at least a couple more minutes to pile in here. And if people, again, I'll keep saying this probably a couple of times. This, whatever you guys ask, this is full open spoiler talk about the book. So, if anybody happens to be in here who don't know, this is the book, The Crimson Gods. This is my book that I came out in October. And I'll try to, and there's we got paperback, audiobook, all that good stuff. But don't be here, don't be here if you have not read it, because we're going to talk spoilers and everything. Or we could. I mean, maybe people won't ask that. We had talked about doing at least a live stream or a couple, and doing Q&As for stuff that people either liked, didn't understand, how to, writing advice, any of that kind of stuff, self-publishing, all that kind of stuff is cool with me. It don't matter. But it will spoil the book, and this is one thing, if you guys have read it, you can't talk about it beyond being medieval fantasy without spoiling it beyond that. And if you spoil it, then it's like ruined. So, Andrew Soul, there you go. What's up, man? Mills read a case of balls in case he loses one. Yeah, that little children's book is actually written. I'm still trying to get my cousin to do the artwork, and I would put that out fairly quickly, actually. I was going to do a kid's book, which I actually have done. I've started the second book, and I've started the prequel stuff, but I really don't know what I'm going to do yet because this felt like an ending to me, and this is one of the things you learn, obviously, when you're writing the first time, is I should have probably stretched it. Because originally I wanted to write a trilogy, right? Like, everybody wants to write a trilogy. And I was like, well, if the story in my mind is not that long, it's just not that long. So I kind of wrote what felt like an ending, so it can be a standalone novel, but there's plenty of room for more. So I just don't have I think some good ideas, but I don't have a absolute clear direction. So I'm just kind of writing, and we'll see what happens. Sarah Kay, I've never watched The Last Kingdom. I know. Don't throw anything. I will at some point. Christian Cruz, who does the audio, a guy named Graham Mack. Actually, I did a podcast with him. Let me put a link to that. Let me go to YouTube real quick. I did a podcast with Graham. He like when he does. Let's see, Graham Mack. I'll link it for you guys to watch later. Let me type. I have to type in my name there because here we go. Let me. Let me just give you the link there. So Graham, when he does an audiobook, he does an interview. There's the video there. So I'll paste that a couple times. Watch that when you have a chance. And leave a comment till Graham I said hello. But he is outstanding. The audiobook was outstanding, and it made me like want to listen to my own shit again. I was so sick of it by then with all the rereads and edits and all that stuff. And I did a little podcast with him. He does another podcast as well that I may be on about podcasting. So me and James may be on that. But yeah, Graham Mack, he does the audiobook. He was outstanding. He was the first one that sent me a sample, and then ended up being, I got about probably 25 or 30. And he was the first one I'd heard, and the first one, and then I decided to go with him. There was one other guy that was really, really good. He sounded like Loki, but Graham just had the inflection and the different voice. He did 70 different voices. That comes out on that podcast, actually. I had no idea I had 70 characters. If you count like anybody that's just like standing in the background, or somebody says hello, or whatever it may be. Doc, bet your sequel comes out before wins. Bet it does, because we ain't never going to get that. Dark Side Droids, thank you, man, for the super chat, dude. I really appreciate that, man. First one I've seen on YouTube in a while. Thank you, man, so much. I really appreciate the continued support. Thank you, sir. I knew you were gonna start a podcast, right? I think I may contact you on the side, Nip. I don't know if you're still on Discord. I think you got rid of that, but there was something I was thinking about doing on the side as far as podcast wise. So let me know how I can get in touch with you, man. Maybe something you be interested in. You're close to me, I know. Lady Jan had the audio and the paperback. Very cool, man. Yeah, it's really odd. The book kind of died off. I was running some ads and testing some ads out and stuff like that, but they never really did much. So we had a really good little run there at the beginning, and then it kind of died off. And the ads I was running on YouTube, and then some Instagram and Twitter, and I just played around with in Facebook. I played around with some. They really didn't. I didn't see much difference. Slope, what's up, man? I knew as soon as I saw your name. Hey, look, I just was cleaning yesterday, man, and picked up your books, man. Or my books that you sent. He's never watched The Last Kingdom or read the first Saw series by Joe Abercrombie. Shaking my head, dude. Look, man, it's hard to read. It's hard to read, man. I hadn't read anything. I've read since my book came out. I haven't read anything except for Quinn's book. Speaking of that, really quick, let me grab that. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. Let me give me 1 second. I will be right back. And then we'll get started. Here we go. All right. Sorry about that. I meant to grab this on the way up here. I had it in my hand and set it down when I was grabbing a drink or something. Before we talk about the Crimson Gods, I wanted to shout out Ideas of Ice and Fire Quinn. Real talented kid, man. He has a graphic novel out now. If you like, it is dark fantasy. This is one cover. You can get several different covers. This is his graphic novel, Tadia, Exordium. And this is the only thing I've started reading. It's really, really good so far. And I'll give you a little sample of the artwork in here. Matthew Weldon did the artwork. Quinn wrote it. And let's see here. I'll just give you a sample. I won't spoil anything, but it's a really well done book. Unfortunately, Quinn, it's only available on his website, so he's selling it himself. It's not, I won't spoil anything there, but really, really cool that we see, some YouTubers going beyond. So be sure to check out, I think it's quinnhoward.net is Quinn's website. You can get Tadia. I don't know if you can get it right this moment, but he's about to have a restock, he said. So he's got, you can get one of 3 different covers, I believe. And I'll pre-order this on his Indiegogo campaign. So be sure to check out Quinn. I'll paste his. Let's see. I think it's .net. Let me make sure here. Yeah. So I'll paste his website there as well. You'll be able to grab Tadia there if you like dark fantasy, and that's about witches. So check out Quinn's book as well. I'm just cool. It's cool to see that some people in this like Ice and Fire community, fantasy community, sci-fi, whatever, on YouTube, kind of went beyond and wrote books, man. I think it's pretty cool. And Quinn was cool, and I've actually sent him a copy, and everybody else. And I hadn't heard from anybody or anything except for a couple people said they got it. Shout out to Robert from Indeep Geek. He did shout it out on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know if he's read it yet or finished it. And Gray Area as well. They're the only ones that have actually mentioned it on social media, but nobody in a video. But I wanted to do that for Quinn. Quinn's already hugely successful, more than me, way beyond me, much more talented. So I want to shout that out. And let me look and see if that, let's see if his book is back on his website. Because, okay, it says out of stock right now, but you can check it out. He said it will be back. So that one doesn't have an ISBN where you can buy it on Amazon or whatever, but it is on Goodreads, so you can leave reviews and stuff there. So pretty cool to see a few people writing books, man. I believe Teflon's writing a book, if I'm remembering correctly. Which he's written a children's book already, but I think he's writing a fantasy book. Randy Sweetmonster, what's up, man? The Bandersnatch, I have the paperback. I'm about the third of the way through. So hopefully, Bandersnatch, you're past what I'm talking about before we get into it. All right. I don't want to spoil anything. If you're still figuring out what's going on, you'll know what I'm talking about if I'm just by me saying this, of what type of book it is. Randy Sumatsu, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Suggestion, write Dream of Spring, no one else will. I wish I could get, hey, man, if I can get the permission, I'll do it, man. You know what I mean? They'll get somebody like Brandon Sanderson, or whatever, to do it. Not some lowly fucker like me. But anyway, so let me hold on one second. Slope, if any GOT fan has never read the first All series, do yourself a favor and do it. Lots of other books in that world and second series as well. Yeah, Slope is correct. I know enough about it to know that it's definitely, you can see some where George got some inspiration for sure. So yes, Slope, I do know more about it than you think. Voodoo Darling, hello. If I didn't say hello earlier. John Haymaker, what's up, man? Tom Bystander, there he is. We're just waiting. Just a couple more minutes before we jump into spoilers. If anybody even has any questions, has everybody here read the damn book? Besides, I know Bandersnatch said a third of the way. I know Doc has read it. I know Mizuma. Nat hated it, but she did read it. Andrew, thank you. Love the book, by the way. Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Sarah K, Last Kingdom came out. What's up, R. Bart? How you doing? Let's see here. So yeah, before we jump into it, yeah. So everybody has read the book, right? Lord Commander Manny, look who's here. Lord Commander, what's up, Manny? How you doing, man? What's going on, man? Been a long time. I think you popped on a random House of the Dragon stream not too long ago, but before that, it's been a long, long time. What's up, man? How have you been down in Florida? Slope, listen to it twice. Awesome, man. Well, I'm glad. I hope you enjoyed it, man. I hope people really dig it. It was cool to see. I think we're up to 79 or 80. I think it's 79. By the way, for anybody on Patreon, I posted a link on post on there for anybody to post questions as well. We gotta start rebuilding everything, man. We're gonna fall apart here. But I think on Amazon we're up to 79 reviews, and it was really cool to see those roll in and it not be people I knew. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always felt like people were being nice with the feedback because I got really, really good feedback, except for very little minor things. So I was really excited about it, and I see we're up to 79 global ratings, and it's got 4.8 stars out of 5, and that's outstanding. That's awesome. And it was really, and I just felt like everybody was being nice because it was people in the community that were doing, beta readers and feedback and all that kind of stuff before it came out, and then I saw a couple reviews when it did come out, but it was people I knew, and I felt like, they're being nice, they don't want to hurt my feelings type of stuff. And, Natai, what, what are you doing? Natalie, what do you mean? I'm just kidding, Natalie. I hate you, Chris, and Big Cap. She's trying to cuss me out on here, man. More than the book now. What? Wait, what? So, Ryan, yes. So I haven't said anything yet. That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for couple. I guess there's not really gonna be that many people in here because this is not titled House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones. Hello, Don Baca. How you doing? No, Dan, we didn't get any snow here. It just rained like hell. It was a couple hours away that it snowed up north, apparently a little bit. We didn't get anything here. It was just cold and rainy. Nat, it's okay. You are not required to like the book or whatever. I'm glad you're honest. That's what matters. Oh, shit. But yeah, so I just want to do a Q&A like we talked about before, at least one or two or whatever. I guess, just to talk about it. If anybody had any questions, I mean, maybe you don't. Maybe people don't have any questions and kind of forgot about it by now or whatever. Tom, how do you pronounce Osgoth? It is Osgoth. So think about Oz, O-Z, Goth, but I wanted to spell it cool. So it's Osgoth, just like I said it. So hopefully people are getting that close. 8 inches, Diane. Damn. No, I didn't do shit here. Don, Bach, good to see y'all taking a break from the war. Taking a break, I hear you, man. I hope that shit ends quick. This is ridiculous. Dark Side. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for the super chat again. Just bought a hard copy. I'll keep it in my keep it 100 in my review. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, dude. Really appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody who helped me along the way. I'm really proud of the book. It's kind of to see it drop off and kind of just fade away. It kind of bothers me, just like the YouTube channel. But that's just me. I know it. I'm really proud of it. It did really well in its first couple months for a book, for your first book especially. I think we sold like 1,200 copies total, which includes, mostly physical copies and then ebooks as well as audiobooks that were like 150. So when they say the typical book sells 200 to 250 copies lifetime, I thought, well, at least I've went well beyond that. So it's really cool, and I know it's in some stores. I did have people send me pictures of it in some random Barnes and Nobles. That was the only store that I know of, but I know it was at least. But they're in random places. I don't know any of that where it said. It wasn't any of my local stores, but I know one was in Montana. One store I got sent, and then it is in a local store here that got it for me, but a local small private bookstore. But it is in some Barnes and Nobles and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I still haven't come across it myself on the shelf other than the library. It is in the libraries and stuff like that as well. But pretty cool. Pretty cool. So anyway, with that said, please don't watch this, or if anybody does have any questions, start firing them away, but don't watch this if you plan to read this book. Neff, I mean, because it will spoil it. I mean, and I can't really say much more than that. There's a pretty big, oh shit, this is this type of book, type of moment in there. Because the idea was behind this book, right, was it's a slow burn. You got some introduction stuff, whatever. You kind of hear some things about the world, the main characters, and then it's kind of a slow build. There's weird things going on, and you're like, something's kind of, it's like a build is the idea. That was the plan, and that's what apparently the feedback I got kind of worked. So that was the plan, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's this type of book, even medieval fantasy, but a dark twist. So. Yeah, Lucis, what's up, man? Montana for its bibliophiles. First book for authors don't always hit triple digits until 2-3 books of the author. Yeah, that is true. Right, you're right, Bandersnatch. I mean, usually what happens is you drop a second, third, fourth book, then people kind of go back to your catalog, and that's typically how it works. So this would keep selling, obviously, and if I do a sequel, then people would buy the first one and all that kind of stuff. So that's the idea, anyway. Tom, I deliver mail for a living, and the lady in my town walks around every day hanging out paperback copies of her fiction law book she wrote. I feel bad for her. Well, there's if there's nothing wrong with giving some books away for sure. It just takes one person, the right person, to really like it. But anyway. Don, man, check bookstores in Chicago. Yeah, if anybody does see it on a shelf somewhere, send me pictures, man. Tag me on social media, whatever. It'd be cool. Dark Side Droids, I'll jump out of here. I'll have to work in 9 hours. Anyway, take care of y'all, and I'll be in touch. Yeah, man, appreciate it, dude. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the super chats and ordering a copy. I really appreciate it, man. I just don't want you to get spoiled, man. I don't want anybody to get spoiled. So if you do, again, plan on reading this book. If you don't care, then that's fine. If you plan on reading it, don't watch this live stream. Watch it later as the VOD goes up after you read it. Voodoo. Anyway. Randy, I've mentioned it on Twitch, but I don't have. I think it's the same handful of people on Twitch. It's Doc and Mazuma. And Steph Snow don't hang out much because she don't like gory games because we played DBD. But it's really the same group of people. Carol stops by a few other people, Alex. It's really the same. So I don't have any. Twitch has died since we used to hang out on there some from Game of Thrones days. Omi Juan Dahomey, a.k.a. Besker Batman. What a fucking name, man. Hello there. This is the way. What's up, man? It is the way. I'm looking forward, speaking of This is the Way, to y'all saw the you Star Wars fans saw the Obi-Wan teaser. Looks good, man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just bad time. Maybe people have though, but I don't know. It was, nothing wrong with giving away books, but I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I think a lot of people still have, and I'm actually going to do a self-publishing course on Skillshare. I already have the course kind of laid out. I just need to record the videos and like really in-depth, step-by-step course, because I think people still take a lot of shortcuts, especially self-publishing, and then it's almost like the author who writes the book edits it themselves and staples it together and takes it to a bookstore and says, "Will you carry my book?" And they're like, "No, you have to have an eye. I think people still do some of that, but it's definitely come a long way. No, ready, Jen. I'm ready. I'm ready. If y'all have any questions, start firing them. I'm just saying one last time. One last time. If you have not read this book and you want to read this book, if you plan on reading it, don't watch. Watch this later. Won't be mad. It don't matter about number of viewers. Lady Jen. Elden Ring is outstanding. I don't know. Sorry about Nightbot. His caps, man. I thought I changed the rules. I got you. What's up, Christian? How you doing, man? I replied to you earlier. You must not have heard me. I think I answered you earlier. I know I did. So yes. Anyway, yes. If you have any questions, if everybody's gone now that has not read the book and plans on reading it, any questions you have, feel free to ask. I didn't have any plans on official spoiler warning. This will spoil the Crimson Gods if you guys have. You may not even have any questions. So anyway. Elden Ring is outstanding, Lady Jen. I play it every day for a little bit. I'm taking my time with it. I'm like a level 102 or 3 now. Really, really fun, man. I think it's probably the best game ever made. Power is power. Well, Randy, it won't time you out. You got the mod, you got the wrench, man. You got the wrench. You're immune to Nightbot. But I thought I know I fixed him as far as number of like caps or whatever it was. Anyway, if you have any questions, ask them. And whether it's about the story or about writing or what was I thinking here, or you didn't understand something or whatever. Lady Jan, it was just caps. You typed in all caps, and if it's too many letters, it times you out for 5 seconds the first time. It's a rule because we have the reason it does that because we used to have these big streams back in the day when the channel was booming. We'd have all these damn bots in here spamming caps and links and all this kind of shit. So that's one of the things there. It's also my new obsession. Yeah, it's really, really fun. It's really good. Any gamers out there? I did stream it, by the way, Lady Jen, the first time I played it on Twitch. I'll probably do it a little more, but I've been playing DVD as usual because it's more of a sit down, big TV, chill type of game. All right, here we go. So this is when I say these words from Slope, this is going to spoil things, okay? So I'm just saying. So I'm going to give everybody 10 seconds. Anybody that has not read the book and wants to read the book, 10 seconds, because once I say these words that you probably already read in the chat, it will spoil the book. All right. Last spoiler warning. There we go. Annette will ask as the topic comes up. Please do. Maybe it will help if I explain something if you had a question. All right, so here we go. Red Wallace, I see you there. Slope, thank you for the super chat, by the way, Slope. Thank you, man. Really appreciate you didn't have to do the super chat question, but I appreciate it, man. I wasn't expecting the vampire and werewolf angle from you. What was your thought process going on with that? So that's what I mean, right? So this is the idea was slow in the beginning is like I started writing a couple chapters and I didn't exactly know what it was. And I was like, wait a minute, what if I take kind of the typical vampire story, right, and put it in a medieval world and change it up a little bit where it's probably a dumb idea. I was thinking this in my head when I wrote it. Like, okay, this is going to be a vampire book, but I can't advertise it as a vampire book. Because if I did a vampire love story, right, and went under a pseudonym as far as an author name, like a unisex name like Jordan or something, I could sell a billion copies, right? But I'm more of a traditional vampire, and so I decided, okay, let's change it up a little bit and put put it in a medieval world, but not just that. Let's tie it in with dragons, where there used to be actual dragons in the world, because we're not doing A Song of Ice and Fire. We're not doing Tolkien, whatever. It's just that style of world. So let's use them as an allegory type thing. So that was the idea, man. Obviously I got a lot of ideas from other things and that I enjoyed, whether it's books or shows and movies, video games for that matter. So that's where it actually came from. It was just like, okay, how can I write a vampire book that is still a pretty popular thing, not let people know immediately it's a vampire book? Because, some people don't like them, and they would say, oh, it's a vampire, I don't care about it. But you say medieval fantasy, and a lot of people dig it. So I thought, okay, let's try to change it up a little bit. So that was the general idea. No, Lady Jen, don't worry about it. You're not going to get banned or anything. You would have to do it like 10 times. You don't worry about it. It's just an automated bot thing. So Natalie, you're saying the same thing. The direction, yeah. So I hope that answered that Slope. So let me know if it didn't. And Nata, that was the idea. It's like, hey, I love vampire shit. Like I can watch Underworld or Interview with the Vampire and all that shit all the time. And actually, a big influence was a video game series, which was one of the first things I thought about. That's what I had the ideas off of the glyphs and stuff from. And that was Legacy of Kain. That series was a big influence. And it's actually got a very similar name. I didn't really mean for that to happen. It's Nosgoth, but it's spelled differently. And it's a whole different thing. But that was actually before I thought of any other stories where I got maybe inspiration. That was a big inspiration. Because it's a great story. Bandersnatch, the idea. So I started with just writing. I just had an idea for some of these characters, but like I said, I didn't know what it was yet. I got about 3 or 4 chapters in and got okay, we're going to do this vampire book. This is where it's going. And once I got that in my head, then I started like, okay, how am I going to make this different? So it really just came. The prologue, which if you remember, is where they go down to Merrick, which you think is the main character, right? Because he's in the prologue. And I wanted that to be like a hook. I wanted that to be a hook to where Merrick goes down. He's in the prologue. He's doing his thing. He's looking for this mysterious this island, and boom, he's killed. And why? And why does that happen? So that was the hook. So once I had that like idea from there, that's where everything else spawned from. That may answer Slope's question better as well. Let's see. So hopefully that helps Bandersnatch all with all that. How many drafts Red Walrus is asked? How many drafts until you write until you were happy with it? I wrote about 7. And that was just rewrites and fixing things, whatever. And once I got to about 7 or 8, I felt like it was ready to go to an editor. So I have like, I'll show you guys some stuff here, just if you're curious. Let me open this up really quick. I have a folder here. Let me see if I have a screen share option here and display. Let's see, what is this under? So, yeah, I have a folder over here. Okay, where this is like my book folder. Like this is how much stuff. So it literally started. All these are full of stuff. It literally started with like these little things, like right. These little description. So I had a description here, right? These ideas I would write down in little notes. I would have here was my chapter outline I did as I went along. I did not plan everything until I got to around chapter in here somewhere, like 7, 8, 9. Then I started adding all of these and laid it out. So there was literally just text documents. Then I had some character ideas and names. So I started putting all these names down here and who they were. And so that's how it started. Then I went to, other, and there's each individual chapter as I wrote it. So these are the actual originals as I wrote them. Then I got so many, like I went up to V6 right here. So there you go, version 7. is manuscript version 7. So 7 full versions before I sent it to an editor. So there was so much stuff, and then I started developing the backstories and all that kind of stuff, and put all together on a site called World Anvil. I started using that, but it kind of got overwhelming. I was trying to do too many things at once. I just needed to write the book first. So now, if I choose to, I can go back and build that out. It's like a wiki for it, really. Chilling this evening, Don. A mod on channels covering Ukraine. Oh, well, I mean, that's good, man. Take a break, dude. Voodoo Darling, do you remember the first sentence you wrote when you knew you were going to write a book? Yes, it was literally, the change was abrupt. That was I was thinking of a lot, because they always say, every time you look up writing advice or, stuff like that, your first lines are important. And I wanted that to be not only sound cool, but it was also a huge foreshadowing piece, like a hint, right? The very first sentence about change, literal change, right? So I literally wrote, the change was abrupt. That was so that first line I kept in there the whole time. Some editors suggested I should maybe change that first paragraph around, which I did kind of because the first draft was a big info dump. It was horrible, but that's what you have to do. You have to go through and change all that kind of stuff. So, but that first line, I wanted to what is that? The change was abrupt. That should pose a question in your head. What does that mean? And then, of course, you read the paragraph, and it's like, oh, I see. He's talking about literally the landscape he's standing in front of. But, of course, that was a bigger metaphor for the whole damn book, the change. So, let's see. Hold on. Let me back it up. Okay. Randy, I wasn't expecting them either, but got into it even more because of him, I think. Yeah, so that was the idea, Randy. I wanted to, I didn't want to do and the backdrop was going to be, the medieval thing where you have a former king, he's abdicated his crown, because you don't read a lot about kings and queens who give up their crowns, right? But I had this other dark queen, that I wanted to bring forth. So I had, that was the idea. And then the current, William, which is Cyric and Ashea's father, and Merrick's as well, since Merrick and Ashea are twins. I wanted him to be wanting to change things. So that was kind of the backdrop, because it's always about kings and queens and all that stuff. But the drama is never about, okay, the king's actually trying to give up his crown and turn it into more of I wouldn't say straight democracy or anything first. Obviously, it would go through changes before it got to that point, but a council. So he's trying to change the way people are ruled. And so that was the idea. As far as what's going on in the background. That I think could be explored a lot more. Diane, was there anyone who died in the book that originally was supposed to live and vice versa? Yeah. I knew Merrick was going to be killed right there in the very beginning. I just wanted that to be the hook of the book. If you read that prologue, and I tried to really build him up and make you like him and think he's kind of cool and really be descriptive, probably overly descriptive in some points, and then you just kill him. I was like, and for people to go, oh shit, well damn, So that was so he was definitely going to, but yeah, Galen, I originally wanted him around for longer, but I thought that had to happen to make Cyric really flip out, so I kind of used it for that, and then also that would help his son Theodore and his journey as well. So Cyric himself, I wanted to keep him around, but I think I had to do it. I had to take a main character, and the idea was his jealousy and rage and all that stuff that he had been building up for years. Since it was the Crown Prince, obviously. Essentially, they're the same character, right? Ashea and Cyric are the same parallel events going on in their lives, but he chooses the dark side, right? He chooses the dark path. So that was the idea. So I didn't want to kill him at first either. I just wanted to be more of a straightforward kind of minor characters with some of the action, whatever. And then I think that's about it. William, I knew he was going to be the catalyst for that. He had to go to make Cyric kind of lose it as well. So there was a couple things. So, but I added Galen to that list for sure. I'm trying to catch up here. Ryan, yes, I didn't have. I don't do diamond skin vampires, man. I could. I said I can't stand some damn Twilight. Look, I gave Twilight a shot. Once that went to that scene, I was done. I turned that shit off. I wanted Blade to show up in the end of that. That was what I wanted to happen with Twilight. Don, if I was ever to write fantasy novel, I'd change my name to A.A. Tolkien and milk the search results. That is true. That is true. I guess you could. Lady Jan, okay. Do you intend to draw so much influence? Did you intend to draw so much influence from God? I noticed a few common phrases early on, such as far south as south goes. That's kind of an iconic OSHA thing to say, just wondering. No, I didn't plan on. I mean, obviously, A Song of Ice and Fire, I did some shout-outs in for A Song of Ice and Fire for sure. I don't know if, you guys call it. There's a lot of hints in there. If you go back and read it again, there's a lot of hints in there. So I did definitely shout it out. I shouted out Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, a couple other things. I did there's a whole paragraph about my favorite basketball player in history, and I hid that in there. So that was my favorite part. I know that wasn't really your question, but as far as South to South goes, that was just literally a kid talking. I just wanted to. He had to sound uneducated like a kid, and maybe that subconsciously came to my mind like that. But I've heard that before, and it wasn't necessarily Ice and Fire. So that wasn't the intent there for sure. I wasn't thinking of OSHA saying that as far as running from White Walkers. But yeah, I mean, now that you say that, maybe. But that was just a line saying where he lived, so it wasn't the same intention there, if that makes any sense. Uncle Ant, what's up, man? Ungoliant. Did we ever straighten that out? I forgot. What's up, man? We're spoiling the book, so just be warned. Anybody that comes in, we're spoiling the Crimson Gods if you plan on reading it. If you hadn't, what's up, Harry the Hater? What's up, man? Same as well. We are spoiling this, so anyway. Don Preston is live now too, but he's gotten too political lately. Pity, because I always loved his literary commentary. Instead, he's a lefty. Yeah, man, I don't do politics on here, dude. And I certainly don't fit in with most of that crowd anyway. That's why I don't talk on Twitter, because it's all a damn echo chamber, man. And it's all insanity, honestly. So I just stick to myself, man. That's why I don't fit in with these other content creators, man. Anyway, but yeah, there's a lot of people like that, man. That that's fine. You can have your opinions on things, but I don't understand why they bring it into their YouTube channels and stuff. Ryan, who is your favorite character in my own book? I would have to say, man, I would have to say Ashea. The main character is Cyric in some ways, because I could see, they say don't put yourself in your book, but you can't help. Some of that's going to be in your own book. Diane, you're already going? Diane, I think I asked you on Twitch. You said you finished it, right? You did finish it. Have a good one, Diane. Good night. Thanks for stopping by. But I'll tell you what, I really liked Ryan as far as characters. I really loved writing the Galen and really the Theodore chapters, man. I liked writing those better. Galen, I can relate to. He's kind of an old, not older dude. Obviously, in that he's a little older than me, but at that age, in that kind of world, he's really old, and he just don't give a shit. He has no filter. I really enjoy him. But I liked writing Theodore because the Theodore stuff was more like they were young. They were two young kids down here in this university is what it is essentially. The Order of Preceptors and the Great Library of Ashburn and all this kind of stuff was cool to me. And then I like the little adventure piece of it. There's like a secret passage, and I thought that was kind of cool. It was fun to write those because he was an unexpected character. I didn't like. That's the cool thing about writing, man. is I had Galen, right, and I needed him to get I needed somebody in Aspirin for him to talk to, and send this letter, this mysterious letter about this mysterious language. And so I was like, okay, I'll make him a son, or a daughter or whatever, and to create him up with Theodore. So Theo, who's in Aspirin, is studying to do the same thing as his father, and then I'll have like a girl that he's got a crush on, and vice versa with him. So then you have some of that. So that starts creating all these side stories, man. So that was really cool. But I really liked enjoying. I really liked writing those, even better than some of the better characters, I would say. Voodoo, did you enjoy killing a character knowing it would get to us? No, I mean not really. I knew Merrick would, and I didn't really enjoy it. No, so I'm some sicko, man, like George R. R. Martin. But you have to do it. You can't. I do agree with that philosophy of his. You can't have anybody be safe. Otherwise, it's just like it's going to be your standard. Everything's perfect ending. You know what I mean? Lady Jen, thanks, Chris. Yes, it makes sense. Everything is somebody else's. Philosophical. Oh yeah. Let me give you an example. Jay is bored. I have to get the audiobook. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, he is outstanding, dude. And I appreciate it, Jay, if you do. Chapter 20. Let me give you an example of some of the stuff I hid in here. All right, I'm just going. I'm using. I got my paperback here. I got like probably 20 books left back here. Chapter 20, I believe. This is just an example. Did anybody, first of all, before I even show this or read this, did anybody pick up any hints or clues, whether it was foreshadowing or shout-outs or whatever, to anything? Just curious of people. I mean, I know we only have 30 people here who may have read this book, probably a handful of you. Did anybody pick up on anything as far as like hints, clues, foreshadowing, little shout outs, little fun stuff like that? Before I give you a couple examples. Steph, I know you had mentioned having to edit some of our out chunks when you decided to make it one book instead of an installment in a series. Was there anything from the cuts you second guessed including? No, Steph. Actually, what I cut out was just it was more of a rearranging. So let me mark that page there with that bone. I don't even have my own. I got a whole giant box of like 100 bookmarks, and I don't even have one out. But what I ended up doing, Steph, was if you guys remember the Neff chapters, there were technically four Neff chapters, right? I hope people understand that the Neff chapters, and then one of them becomes Asa because Neff dies, right? So there's technically three Neff chapters, and then an Asa chapter, which was his wife. I hope people understand that's a completely different timeline. That was originally a short story, Steph. So the Neff chapters were a complete separate short story in the same world 2,000 years earlier. And I decided, you know what, this would kind of be cool if I can pull it off by using description, because they were in this old Bloodstone, this village near Bloodstone, the temple. And I thought, what if I take the short story instead of, because I had submitted that to some publications and got some pretty good feedback on it, actually. But I decided, you know what, let me put it in the book as just like another character, but it'll be a separate timeline, and I'll try my best as a first-time author to really make sure people see that, oh, this is not like the current little kid Neff. This is like his ancestor. So if you read the Neff chapters, you'll notice that he's in this nice little village, and Bloodstone Temple's being built. It's being erected. It's basically brand new. But then in the modern stuff, when Ashea goes to Bloodstone, it's all ruins. It's tore down. It's, there's shit laying in the courtyard. Stones have fallen. There's holes in the roof. So that was actually put in there, Steph, and it was I thought it was a pretty cool idea. So the chunks I cut out were more like info dumps where I moved them around and put them in as other things like dialogue and stuff. Because the first thing is just getting it out of my head. So the first draft's always going to be terrible. So if you guys, any of you guys are writing, don't worry about it being a book the first draft. It's not a book yet. It's not a book till it's edited 4 times. Honestly, so do all that later. Don't edit while you write. Just pro tip, or I'm sorry, amateur tip, but whatever. Hopefully that answers. So yeah, it wasn't a lot of big cut steps, just more of cutting out big overdrawn like info dump paragraphs, stuff like that. But it kind of still made it in there in some way. Voodoo, what do you feel writing wise was the hardest process for you to overcome? Editing while I wrote. Voodoo, I'm telling you, every time I sat down when I first started, especially, but I got better as I went. Right, I would sit down and be like on chapter 4, and I would reread the prologue in chapter 1 and 2 and make all these changes. And then I would eventually get to writing chapter 4 or 5 or whatever I was on. But you can't do that. You have to just get it out of your head and get the story essentially kind of thrown out there on paper. You have to just get it out of your system, right? And then you can go back and do all that. So when you're writing, I know, because I'm a perfectionist. I was like, now I did do that. Like, let me give you an example. If I was, because dude, I'm telling you, when you're writing, at least for me, and I've heard this from other authors now too, is when you have a work in progress, you literally go to sleep and you're thinking about it, you dream about it, it's just always on your mind. So when I had a cool line come to my head, I would definitely go change that and stuff. But the hardest part is continuing to write without worrying about editing what you've already written. That's for sure the hardest part. Because once you get a groove going, it really starts flowing fast. I mean, I wrote several chapters like by hand on paper on the couch like that, and they would come really, really fast. So I never had a problem writing. And once you get down to it and you're really like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 chapters in, you're like, yeah, I'm going to finish this damn thing. Because that's obviously the hardest part for most people is actually finishing a book. So, let's see. Don, I've ordered it. Looking forward to it. Very cool, man. Thank you, man. I hope this doesn't mess it up for you, man. Lady Jen, admittedly, I know got better than your other little Easter eggs. Yeah, sure, yeah. There's definitely a shout out. I'll give you an example, Lady Jen. You probably called this if you're a got Ice and Fire nerd. Is I had them chapter 3 Ashea, right? Because I made Cyric the first chapter because I wanted people to kind of overly focus on him as like the main character when it's really Ashea who's sitting back here kind of growing on you. Obviously, she's at the forefront, but I wanted her to be the surprise. So, there were hints and all that stuff, but they were having a thing about the thing that stole her rabbit, right, when she went hunting. And he says, maybe it was a dire wolf. And she said, I don't even remember the line now, but something about, no, I'm not talking about some fantasy. Besides, if there's any dire wolves left, they're out in the west. So that was a shout out to Westeros, out west. So that was little things like that were in there. I had a line, I think, from Theodore about, what do you think I am? Somebody in a pointy hat with a magic wand or something. A shout out to Lord of the Rings. So I had those little things in there. They're all through there. Not like overly done. I'm just saying, obviously those are a huge influence on me. Like the greatest story ever told to me is Lord of the Rings. I've really got into Tolkien more lately too, and kind of relearning Tolkien because I've forgotten so much. But yeah, there's stuff like that. I know. I'm sorry, Doc. I'm trying to find where I'm at. Doc, I caught what you are going to mention, but we have a shared fandom. Yes, that is true. That is true. So Doc knows what I'm about to show you, just as an example. Randy, it's weird, but when I was reading, I picked up more than when I was listening. Reading just seems to create the world more fully for me. Yeah, no, I agree, Randy. Audiobooks are really great for you driving around, or if you're in the shower, you pop one on if you got a speaker or whatever, Bluetooth, whatever. They're really good, and it really brings it to life in some ways, depending on what kind of story it is, I think. And Graham did such a good job. It really popped it for me because I was so tired of reading my own shit. I was so tired of reading the same drafts, and I was just tired of it, and it didn't feel like I was. But when he did it, when he sent me this sample, when he did the audition on ACX, which is where you do audiobooks for Audible. And I listened to it, I was like, oh shit, because he started doing these voices, and I was like, oh hell. The voices is really what did it for me. But I agree, there's nothing like just sitting down in a quiet spot with your actual book in your hand. I don't do ebooks. I do have ebooks, but I don't read them very often. I have a lot of them. Sometimes I'll grab them real quick, but later I'll get the hardcover or whatever. But there's nothing like actual books, so I agree. Lady Jen, Chris, I did NaNoWriMo, yes. You write a novel in a month. That's getting it out of your head. Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. And that's National Novel Writing Month, by the way, for anybody who's wondering what the hell I just said or what Lady Jen typed. So NaNoWriMo is a monthly thing in October every year where it's like a hashtag now on Twitter. Any writers and whatever try to write an entire novel in 1 month. And it really helps when people kind of hold each other accountable. So, if you don't finish it, because there's like a words count, like 80,000 or something, and you actually track it on the website. So it's a really good tool. And if you don't get it done, you'll get a lot of it done, and you're going to at least make a lot of progress. So I think that helps holding each other accountable. And I didn't personally do it. I did it, but I didn't officially do it. I wrote the majority of this book when I moved here, even though I had started it a year earlier at the old house. But I wrote so much here. Once I got here and got kind of settled in, I started writing really fast. I have no problem writing fast at all because then, again, as I've learned, don't edit as you write. I know I'm going to go back. I know there's going to be errors and misspellings and all that kind of shit, but I'm going to get it out of my head, and those tools like NaNoWriMo are certainly good for that. Oh, cool, Don. Yeah. So maybe, maybe you'll can avoid since we're into some of the little minor things. Hopefully, you can avoid that. The Vander said, "Did you bullet point chapters or write it full blown chapters in one go?" I'll show you exactly. So this is what I did. I'll bring that back up. It was very. Look. Here's the thing about me. I don't fuck around with. There's all these like tools and. Right? People have, like, for example, people will, I think, overcomplicate things by trying to use all these, like, tools, which there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying, it's just not my thing. I keep it very simple, and I guess I'm in the dark ages. I literally use Notepad for ideas. I would use my phone if I was not home. I would record, like I'd be in the car, get a great idea, or what I thought was a great idea, or whatever, and I would hit the voice recorder and I would record myself and then come home and use it or not. But my chapter layout was not some big layout like you would think, like some awesome badass Word document, right? It was literally this. Let me find it again. Let's see. Book. Because I think if you keep it simple, I think for me, at least, it works better. But like right here, chapter outline. This was my chapter. Let me put it on this really quick again. This was my chapter outline. Oh, no. Oh, that's so bright. That's bright. Let me do that this way. I literally just had, you can see here up here, there's nothing, there's just literally names. So chapter prologue, right? So I had the prologue, which was Merrick. Then I had Cyric, Ashea, William, Galen, Amari, Theo. So I wanted to kind of establish the mains, right? Then this is where I went back and inserted Neff. This is 509 AD, so you can see this is 2,000 years about before the main story. So you see there's just names here at the first, so I was just writing, right? Then this is where it really kicks off. I put Journey Begins. That's when Cyric leaves to go to Valton down in the south. And then, as you can see here, this is when I started planning a little bit more. So William 2, and this is when I just put little bullet points. Continues meetings, finds out Ashea left Wolf Pine, takes troops to find her. So this was just like how I did it. So Amari would come after that. Journey to Valton. Cyric meets Promethiel. Obviously, Ethan was Promethiel. Ethan was not really his name. That was an old. Promethiel was kind of the second, kind of the co-antagonist. The Stranger, I just named it that at the time. I didn't know this was going to be Thade at the time. Thade follows Ashea. Thade obviously is keeping an eye on her, and you meet him later. Nev 2, 509 AD. Theo 3, finding out about secret passages in the library and the prophecy. So you can see what I'm saying is after I started to get to the kind of planning stages, after I just wrote, what is that, 10, 11 chapters, excuse me, then I started like planning, okay, this needs to be next, this needs to be next. These are bullet points. So Ashea senses something about Cyric being called to the Owl. She wants to go to Bloodstone for revenge. So these were just this is how I did it. I literally just did it out in all 47 chapters. So I did up to 46 in the epilogue, which is technically chapter 47. So if you count prologue and epilogue, you got 48 chapters, and then I literally typed the end. So that's how I did it. I just kept it simple. And like I said, I have all these other. You can see here I would do chapter, prologue. This is literally how I wrote it. Now these are obviously these are more, they're a little cleaned up now, but I would have like bullet points on there, if that makes sense, as I wrote. So if I like stopped writing for the day and I wanted to finish that chapter the next day, then I would have like, okay, in this chapter, I need to make sure this happens, right? So that was the idea, is make sure in this chapter, because everything has to have a purpose, right? Every paragraph, every chapter, it can't just be fluff. So that's what I did. I would say, okay, this chapter, it's William. I have to get this done in this chapter. This is the purpose of this chapter. So that's what I would do, which is literally just like bullet points. Ryan, you like writing by hand first then? At times I do, Ryan. Sometimes I would just be sick of sitting there at the computer and typing. I would literally take a notepad or this, and I'll show you guys this in a minute. This is where I started sketching maps and stuff. And I would literally go in there and just write chapters by hand with a pen. So that's how I would just go sit on the couch and I would just let it. And I really got in a flow like that, so because it helped break up that monotony of sitting there typing. And then I would have to go back and like try to read my own chicken scratch and type it up. So I enjoy that aspect. It kills my hand, but I'm old school. I know most young people have never even written a letter or a thing on a piece of paper. Everything's typed. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up here. I apologize. Oh no, not that. Trying to get okay. Steph Snow, very cool. Speaking of info dumps, did you find it hard to work around those? Like, how hard was it to add metaphorical reveals to information and bury secrets? Yeah. The first, like when I did you guys on Patreon, remember I put out very early, like, hey, I want some feedback on this this prologue. And I guess I didn't explain that as good because that was not like a book. That was literally an info dump. I just needed the overall feel for feedback. So at first it's hard. It's hard because you don't see it yourself. You think, oh, this is pretty well written paragraph. But from a reader's eyes, it's like a big info dump that shouldn't be there, right? So when you can spread that information out in dialogue or whatever it may be, and the whole showing versus telling type thing. So you get a lot better as a writer as you write a book, and I think you could probably see that if you were really paying attention. The first, even though they got edited and I corrected a lot of things, whatever, I went back and fixed things as I was better, which is why you don't edit while you're moving, right? You edit very little while you're actually writing. So you probably tell the writing is probably better written stuff towards the end of the book than it is at the beginning, even though I went back and went over everything. Lady Jen, I didn't mean for you to feel attacked. I just got a vibe. Don't be defensive. It's a really good book. It's going to get me through work tomorrow. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Lady Jen. I didn't mean to be was I defensive? I didn't feel attacked by any means. No, don't think I didn't feel like that at all with anything. No, that's a legitimate question. That's a completely legitimate question. That's why you have. I had James. James was the dude that I leaned on because I would write something and I could immediately have him read it and give me feedback. Now he was not a writing expert or whatever, but he's still a reader, and it's so important to have that feedback. So you have basically a partner. A critique partner is what you want while you're writing, if you can, ideally, if you can. That was the key to that stuff, because we were like, you don't remember when you're doing something like this with anything really, even if you're making a video, anything creative, you're making a video, you're making a movie, you're writing a book, you're really like thinking, oh God, what if I'm still in this and I don't know it? Because I've read so many books. What if I'm still in, like, what if it sounds too much like Game? That was the big thing at first, right? Was because I'm known for Game of Thrones and Ice and Fire videos on YouTube, and then I was like, okay, when I tell these people I'm writing a book, are they gonna think I just kind of copied Ice and Fire, or that I'm just trying to write another Game of Thrones type of story? And it's like, no, I'm not. So I was really worried about like this cool line. Did I think that up on my own when it popped in my head, or was I influenced? You don't know. So that's why it's cool to have to have a partner to read that kind of stuff and give you feedback on that. Platinum Mike, 47 chapters, just like states in America. Close, Mike. Close. Steph. No, wait. Are we platinum Mike now? We went from. What happened to Bleezy? What's happened to Bleezy, man? Where's the OG Bleezy? What's up, man? Steph Snow, question 2 for the female character dialogue and POV. Did you use anyone in particular for inspiration? Yeah. I mean, I tried to put myself in the head of, depending on the situation, right? Because I think overall, except for relationship stuff, I pulled from my own experience. I pulled from people I've known, whether it was my mother, my daughter, girlfriends, whatever. So I tried to put myself in her head, Shaya's head, particularly because you're talking about her mainly being the main character. So I tried to do that because obviously I think that'd be harder for somebody younger that didn't have really, to experience to pull from, and how people think and how men and women are different and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I tried to do. I tried to, and that's why you want feedback, When I wrote, for example, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but when I wrote that sex scene, because there's a pretty hardcore sex scene, as you guys know, and I know that threw a lot of people off, which I'm not apologizing for, but there was a reason I did it. It wasn't just for the sex scene, but there was a hint in there that I wrote around, if that makes sense. So there's one little hint in there that I wanted to put in, that I needed right there for that story, or for that part of the book. And so I wrote a sex scene around it because it's the only way I could really make it fit right. But when I wrote that sex scene, the first thing I did was had female friends of mine read that. I wanted their feedback, and then Patreon people on Patreon that are girls, ladies. I wanted the feedback. Okay, how would a woman reading this book, what does this sound like? Does it make you feel some type of way? Is it too raunchy? Is it whatever? You know what I mean? I wanted all that feedback, so I tried to do that as much as possible. Steph, what's up, Smile Factor? How you doing? Welcome. Ryan, no Twilight, man. No Twilight. Lady Jen, sexy. See, that's the feedback I got, Lady Jen. That's why it stayed. But let me tell you why. Let me give you an example of like a writer. This is a writer's thinking. I'll show you this little clue in a second. Let me get to that scene. I'm not going to read that scene on here, but this is Siric's chapter. This is, he has this sex scene, but let me read one line out of it, because remember, he's doing the thing with, let's see, let me get back to it here. He's doing the thing with Elia, right? Elia is this lord's daughter who's kind of like almost like not a ward, but she's like the lady of Ashea type of thing. Let me find it right here. So, you move like a shadow, but I can smell your sweet perfume. The reason I did the perfume part right there, by the way, is she wasn't wearing any. He was just already getting a heightened sense of smell because he got bit the night before. So there were little things like that. But like, I'm not going to read all this, obviously, but he spun her around, pushed her against the wall, right? Let's see. I'm trying to find the line. I'm trying to make sure I find the line. There's a line. I think it's right here. It should be. And I'm trying. Some of these things could have got edited. I'm trying to remember. It's been so long since I wrote this first version. I mean, this is like 2.5 years old, honestly. Anyway, the thing was, I needed. Elia ends up being like essentially a spy, and she's basically screwing Cyric and Merrick. Right? Remember, that's the same name. Merrick has the dream. That's his love. He's missing her. And then in chapter 2, all of a sudden, she's coming there, fucking Cyric, right? So I wanted that to be obvious, but I wanted people to wonder, was that Cyric doing that on purpose? Did he know about Merrick and her? And ended up being she's kind of working for her dad. And the idea is she is whispering, I'm doing air quotes here, whispering to the wall. And then later on in the next chapter, or in the same chapter, when Cyric's like downstairs talking to Shea, his sister, in the kitchens or in the tables in the main hall, eating his breakfast, he mentions these walls speak, and the idea was, okay, you just literally heard a line, you just read a line like a couple chapter or paragraphs ago that said, she's whispering to the wall. So that was just a little hint of her being in on the whole thing, working for her dad, which was essentially working for Prometheus. Because he was promised the gift, right? Oh, Lord, we got Platinum Mike in here. And sheathed his throbbing hammer, proceeded to pound her nail. Yeah, that's what exactly. So anyway, Jay from State Farm, what's up, man? All right, let me give you an example. So William, chapter 20, right? We got chapter 20 here. William. I'll just read this one paragraph. So this is where he's introduced, we're introduced, a reader, y'all, whatever, are introduced to Jordan, which is the commander of his armies, right, a commander. William smiled, reassured. Jordan had come to him at a young age, already a renowned warrior. He had risen to lead a group of mercenaries some called the Bulls. He had ridden into battle 6 times before reaching his 35th year, and he had won them all. He had trounced many a legendary men from the East. Some even said he had beaten a man of magic and the legendary Sir Charles, a warlord from the West. William had offered him a role in his army, and he had been by his side ever since. The last time they rode together like this, they were heading out to put an end to the last rebellion. So that paragraph right there, Doc, you know about this one, obviously. I think Mizuma, I don't know if Mizuma's still here, but that right there is obviously referring to what? If you got a man of magic, we got from the east or from the west, you got Sir Charles from the west. He trounced this dude 6 times. He won in battle 6 times. Name is Jordan. so that's obviously a shout out to my, who I grew up. That was my dream growing up. I was a basketball player up through college, and that was my man, Michael Jordan. So that whole little paragraph there, well, it did the job of what it's supposed to do to introduce this character who does play a role in this story. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Let's do a shout out to a big inspiration to me growing up. So that's all about Michael Jordan. Six Rings. Before he was 35, he beat Charles Barkley. He beat Magic Johnson. You know, all those things. So that was the fun part for me, is stuff like that. So there's little things like that in there throughout. And then, like I said, the shout outs to other series like Lord of the Rings and Ice and Fire. So those type of things were the funnest, is hiding things like that in there, and then the clues for, you know, being the vampire thing, right? I mean, you had clues about blood, and I mean, all this stuff was, even from the prologues, got so many clues. I'll give you another example from the prologue. And you guys remember the prologue. If you have read it, you're talking about Merrick down there, and this kid comes up right out of nowhere, which is really odd, and that's what ends up being his downfall. But let's see. And this kid, he called himself Ivan. That wasn't his real name. It was really the young Neff kid, obviously, with this, you know, kind of zealot group that you end up finding out about later. But he's offering him some food. You know, he's offering him some beef jerky, essentially. And because he wasn't able to catch a deer. And he says to the kid, a bow and a well-placed arrow would have saved the day. That was just one little line I thought about. I thought, that's cool, because later on, Ashea, in Ashea's chapter, in the very next chapter, or the third chapter, Ashea's first chapter, she is also known as Ash the Arrow. She had gotten so damn good with a bow. So, I don't know if people connected to that, some of that stuff, but that's in there, that kind of stuff. So a couple of examples of some hidden, and there's lots of those. So that was my favorite part by far. Yeah. There you go, Lady Jen. Yes, there you go. Bacon Burn Black. I didn't go with the whole thing to try to copy it. It was literally just a shout out. Early Tyrion. Yep, exactly. That was exactly like, because I had to describe the food and the setting and all that stuff, and I was like, hey, that's a good little thing. I don't have to go like 2 fish and bacon burn black and, you know, a pint of, do the whole thing. But I thought that would be kind of cool, and there you go, you spotted one. So there's some of those for sure. Yada yada yada. Well, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good scene. Probably exposed myself with that one too. probably exposed. Maybe I don't know. Just saying. I mean, it's possible. All right. Oh shit. I'm trying to scratch my ear, and I'm knocking microphones around. Sorry about that. I knocked it in my teeth. But yeah, anyway, it looks like the questions are slowing up, which, I get it. I think people are heading to sleep. And I don't know how many people read this book in here. I really hope that don't spoil, that people are not going to be spoiled by that. That's why I gave so many warnings and waited so long just to make sure. But because I really feel like if you read this knowing what type of book it is, that I think it would ruin it. I don't know. To me, it would, because I want that to be a big oh shit moment. Like oh damn, I didn't. Because you can have somebody reading this and thinking this is pretty good. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm liking the characters. And then go, oh, well, damn, it's that type of book with the V word. I didn't really realize I like these type of books, but hey, I like this. I can get into it. So that was kind of the idea too. May have been the worst marketing decision ever, but that's what I went with. Let's see. Are we online? Okay, no, we are. Excellent connection. Just making sure, because all I see is Steph, that's a fun little trivia nugget. Yeah, so that's what I mean. There's all kinds of little stuff like that, and that was the funnest part for me. I was hoping to have more people, and again, I know we only have a handful of people who's actually read it on this little stream, but I was hoping like people would pick up on some of that, and you would the second time. You really would the second time if you went back through and read it again. And I know most people don't read books twice, but some people have told me yeah, it was really good. I want to read it again because you pick up on so much stuff that you missed, and then of course if you kind of know the ending and know how it ends, like I'll give you another example. I think it's cool, and it's Sashaya's first chapter as well. I really went back early. Is when she's riding north to go hunting, right? Because she's getting away from Mitch, just kind of bugging her at the time. She leaves the castle and she's riding. North, right? And right here, Ashea brought Acorn to a trot as she came out of the wood on the northern side of Wolf Pine. It was her favorite part of the castle. The morning mist hung over the outer walls, and the sun shone bright on the Queen's Tower. It was the tallest of the castle, and always made her think of her mother. What was she like? Which was a thought she had. But the sun shone bright on the Queen's Tower. So I made it stand out a little bit. She thought of her mother, and it ends up being, how it ends, with the sun on the tower, with mom. So those things are in there early, man. So that was by far the funnest part for me. Ryan, so Neff tied into the prologue. Yes, the young Neff, the current Neff. So remember, Ryan, and this is what I was worried about, of people being confused or not really getting it, because I'm a brand new author, right? I tried to make this as clear with the description. So the little kid, Ivan, that he just called himself that, he's part of this, he's been indoctrinated into this, camp of lunatics who are just after, they're vampire hunters, right? They're an ancient sect of vampire hunters. So and their tradition is they stay poor. They don't have big money and castles and keeps. They run around barefooted. They scrounge together armor and stuff, but they're hunting him. It was a case of mistaken identity, and Neff is the youngest. It's really Neff who comes up, who was forced to do it by his father to find Merrick and kill him because they thought Merrick was Cyric, was the idea. So it was kind of mistaken identity. They knew, they thought they were wrong in some ways, but they thought that because they knew this prophecy that you hear about later on in the Theodore chapters. They knew of this prophecy. And then the Neff chapters, where you have the ancient Neff, which was his forefather, like however many generations that would be, he experienced the real thing from Lucian, right? So Lucian is, I tried to basically tell you what he was without saying it. You know what I'm saying? In the Neff chapters, he tastes blood and gets memories from it and all this kind of stuff. So that was kind of the idea there. So yeah, it's not the same Neff. Obviously, this is because the Neff chapters, the three, and then his wife Azza. I had to name that Azza. Editor told me to do that because I was still calling it Neff because I didn't want to introduce like a separate character, but she was in his chapters, his wife, and she was like, "Well, hey, look, he's dead now. You have to call it Azza." So she and little Seth, which at the time he didn't start this thing, she did, and his son Seth did. That's who established those rules for this cult who would last 2,000 years. Septushena Secrets. George has stole so many little things like that. Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, everybody does, and that's fine. Look, there's nothing original, man. Nothing is original anymore. You just have to take shit and twist it in different ways, man. That's all there is to it. I'm cool with spoilers. It helps my reading due to how whack my brain is. Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm not. Look, I was just trying to warn everybody several times. Like, if you don't want to be spoiled, and I do think this is one of those books or whatever where it's like, don't read it. Don't read it, and don't listen to this video if you're going to read it because it will fuck it up. I'm glad still working, so listening. Cool, man. Appreciate it. Lady Jen. Good night, Lady Jen. Good night, Chris. Miss you and James together. And who dat? Oh, Lord. Have mercy. A damn who dat. See you in the next one. All right, Lady Jen. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. If you have any more questions, we may, if we can get some more books sold and get some more people read it in this as we kind of get back to House of the Dragon, and I can introduce it to more people that used to hang out with us here. We may do another one of these if people have other questions about it, because I didn't know what to expect doing this with on YouTube with a dead channel, and I don't know how many people read it. If people cared enough to ask questions about it, I didn't know what to expect. I just said last year that we were going to do one, so I appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully that helps give you a little insight into my thought process. Anyway, I can't speak for other people who are trying to write books, but. Steph Snow, are you totally against marketing as a vampire medieval fantasy? The V word goes a long way with the lady. No, I agree, Steph, and that was where I was really trying to figure that out, because I wanted it to be a shocker. I wanted for the book, I wanted you to be reading a medieval fantasy story that had this kind of strange things going on that you were intrigued by, without telling you it was a V word book. And so I thought, it's either the smartest thing ever or the dumbest thing ever. Like you're saying, I could have totally just called it what it is. Now, if you look on Amazon, the funny part, Steph, is Amazon. Let me see. Let me check real quick. Because I can't remember. Let's see. Let me double check Patreon here. By the way, I keep forgetting because I don't think anybody uses it anymore. Even when I post something, very few people. So Amazon, if you look at the categories, what's funny. Because I changed this. Now the Kindle version is in mythology. It only shows you 3. It's in actually 6. Medieval historical fiction, mythology, Kindle store, which is a different one. So that's just the highest one. I'm trying to let me find the hardcover. The hardcover is in medieval literature. This is where we almost made #1 bestseller in that category. We made the top 10. I think we were number 5 for a while. It could have been #1 for a little while, but I didn't see it. So it's very possible. We did make the bestsellers list for sure in that category. But it's in vampire mysteries, number 1800 in vampire mysteries. And then in mythology and folk tales. So it's actually in mythology and vampire mysteries in both the hardcover and the paperback. So that's what's kind of funny is I had it added to those, and I was hoping that people wouldn't read down there and see. Anyway, so that's kind of funny. Let's see here. So anyway, Steph, to finish your question, I'm not totally against it, obviously, because I know I could have just sold more books, but it wasn't about money. You don't make money doing. Look, trust me, you do not make money writing books until you start getting up to 15, 20 books. Then you can start seeing okay money, from my understanding. Trust me, you don't make money on books. So I wasn't worried about money. Natalie, hold on. Don't go to bed. Hold on. We're about done. Hold on, I was going to ask you a question. But my whole thing was, if I just do that, then it just takes away then you're reading it thinking, oh, I bought a vampire book because I love vampire mysteries or whatever, and it's in a medieval setting. But wait a minute, there's nothing about vampires until chapter 30, or was it 25 or 30? When it's actually revealed, we had all the hints and stuff. But then you'd have people kind of, I think, almost disappointed. And Natalie, you're saying would have been a big help if you said the V word. Well, that's why all those times I was saying, hey, Nat, have you read, the samples or whatever, or have you read the book, and have you got to this chapter yet? Because I wanted that to be like, oh, that was the whole thing. And that's, for the most part, the feedback I got. So I was like, I can't mark it as a fucking V book, I just had to do what I had to do to see how it worked. I was trying to do something different, that's all. Because there were in this world there were literal dragons at one time, but this wasn't Game of Thrones. I didn't want dragons in the book. I wanted them to be called dragons, but then be vampires because they actually got their powers from dragon blood, which is there's a whole backstory that's going to be in prequels. I mentioned enough of it in the thing. She mentioned enough of it in. Val Cariol, which is Ashea and Merrick's actual mother. She mentions all that to her enough to what happened, but not all the details. which is in the prequels, which I've already started writing. There'll be like a 13, probably short story anthology on all the origins of the 13 original clans. That was the idea. Tim F, what's up, man? Hail, Chris. What's up, man? Hail, Tim F. I hit the V word full throttle. Well, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, now that of course if you've read it, you see the cover, the Crimson Gods. You can kind of the crimson, that means blood. That's the color of blood. Gods, what could that? Then you see, and now the lotus has meaning, right? The favorite flower is really a lotus. It wasn't really a star. The sigils come into that. So now the symbolism means something to you. You know what I mean? The cover means more to you. I mean, there's literally. I'll show you guys, for example. If I go to my covers here, artwork covers, artwork. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Book. See, I've already got a book 2 folder. Actually, I can give you a little taste. Of what I've written so far. But it'll probably change a lot. But let me give you an example. So now that you guys who have read it know what it is. Where is artwork, covers, finals? So if I show you, let me put it over here on display again. So here's the folder where I got all my proofs and covers, and there's the hardcover, actual cover. So if I pull up, I'll pull up this is the audiobook version, just so it can be bigger. So you got the castle up here. Obviously, you want the medieval touch in there. This is the lotus, which is now it's symbolism. There's 13 of these pestils, I believe they're called. So there's 13 of these, which I had them do because they had like a bunch of them, and I was like, let's do 13, and let's do 3 in the middle to represent people. And so now the crimson lotus means something. The blood drops all over the cover and covering the title over here. Now they mean something. Crimson Gods obviously means something because it's actually said one time in the book. She's not who she thought she was. Now you understand the kind of the idea behind that. So. All that stuff, all those little details are in there. And then the back, I think, I have a back cover. Let's see. No, that was here's the back. And what I had them do was add, I don't know if you can see all these sigils. So you can see the sigils here. These are sigils of houses, and they're all glyphs. They're old runes. And this one right here was the House Blacksun one. And as you read in the story, they thought it was a son at some point. This is just like history got lost, right? So it became myths and legends and blah, blah, whatever. That was the idea. But this is actually was supposed to it was changed a little bit. This was actually supposed to be a lotus. And, you get that in the book through dialogue and all that. So I wanted them to put those glyphs in here. And these are glyphs of the 13 original vampire clans is what they are. And so they were named, and so they became like gods, right? That was the whole thing, is religions were formed around them and stuff like that. So that was the idea. So that was what was cool about, that was part of my thought process too, when writing was like, yeah, man, I can create all these cool, because, you're creating a world as far as the world building. Like I can create all these cool religions around it and all that stuff, and that will make more sense. They're worshipped. They were being worshipped at some point. And then you had other religions come in, so you had the so I call that the 13 aspects, which is still a religion in this world in Osgoth, but the main one is the elder, right? It's kind of like the regular Catholicism or whatever. I saw somebody was asking, what's up, Brooklyn Girl 67, hello. Hello, Lauren's Corner. What's up, Lauren? How you doing? I'm awake ungodly early. It is early for you. If you haven't buy this man's book, do it now. Yeah, we've been spoiling it, Lauren. So we gave like many warnings before. Thank you, Lauren. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed. I gave like a billion spoiler warnings because I was talking about doing like one of these little Q&As for people who have read the book, and so I tried to run everybody out that hadn't read it yet. So thank you, Lauren. Appreciate you stopping by as well. A snippet will be lovely. Okay, I'll give you a little snippet, Brooklyn Girl. Hold on one second. But somebody was asking about the name. Was it Steph? Steph, I think it might be exposure to a broader audience. Being a vampire book isn't bad, but that's just my two. No, I agree. It 100% would. But also, don't. If you know it's a vampire book, it takes away any shock factor whenever that happens in chapter 25 or 30, whatever it is now. I think it just takes away any like, oh shit moment. That's the whole thing about it. So, hopefully though, if people like it, and word of mouth is the best marketing. If people can, hey, you ought to check this book out. I can't tell you much about it, but it's got some cool twists. Trust me, I know you'll allow. That's what I was telling Natalie, because I know she likes vampire stuff, but I couldn't tell her the whole time because I wanted her natural reaction to the book. So I kept saying, I know you're going to like it, this type of book, but I can't tell you what it is. So it's hard. It is hard. Let's see. Lauren's Corner. Yes, I feel the exact same way. Being a vampire book is a double-edged sword. On one hand, we have Anne Rice and classic vamps. On the other hand, we have Dem, Stephanie Meyer, and whatever Twilight. I 100% agree. Crystal, shiny, glistening vampire. That's not vampires. That's what I was saying earlier, Lauren. I wanted Blade to show up in Twilight. That'd have been cool. That'd have been a good ending. But as far as the name of the second one, I was thinking, I've already been thinking about this. I haven't got anything nailed down. Again, if it happens, it probably will. When I get in the mood, it will happen quick. Trust me. But it'll probably be the Crimson something. It could be the Crimson Kiss, the Crimson. I'm thinking if you stay in that kind of, stay in the lane of, the metaphorical lane of the naming convention would help with the whole series. So it could be like the Crimson Kid, whatever thing happens as far as the plot of a second book. I think it would be something like that. So it wouldn't be like the Crimson Gods 2. I mean, it might say the Crimson Gods and then Crimson Kid or something. But yeah, I think like the Crimson, I'm just literally making shit up, but the Crimson something, the Crimson Kiss, that sounds like it's already taken. Is it? I mean, who knows? But there's a lot of books like that too. Yeah, Ryan, we did make the top. We did make the bestsellers list for a long time in the medieval category for sure. So I could technically. I don't really like it because it's not like it. But then again, none of this shit's legit. Let me say this real quick. I could technically put on best-selling author on my next cover. I could put best-selling whatever because it made the bestsellers list for a long time. I have, I tweeted that. I thanked everybody. I put it out on Amazon. I mean, on YouTube and YouTube. The community section. I put on Instagram, all that stuff. So technically, I could do that. But then people say, well, that's just an Amazon category. It's an Amazon bestseller, and it's not as prestigious as the New York Times bestsellers. Yes, in some ways, that is absolutely true because you can get in the right category and sell 10 books or less and be number one. So I totally understand that argument. But, excuse me, I see the Crimson Unicorns, yes. What people don't realize is New York Times bestsellers, most of those people have people buy that book in bulk. Like I literally could have started a separate little company, right? I could have started a whatever book wholesaling company and went on Amazon and bought wholesale prices of my own book and bought 1,000 copies and paid costs for them and blew it out of the water. But that's not me. I'm not playing that game. So technically I could put number one bestseller. I'm sorry. Bestseller. I never saw it at number one. It could have made number one because they change every single hour. I did see it at number 5. So if it was at number 5, it could have been at number one while I was sleeping for a couple hours, for a half a day. I have no idea. So technically I never saw that, but it did. It was in the top 50 list for a long time, top 100 for a long time. It was in the top 10 for the majority of October and November. So technically I could do that, but anyway. Feel free to use any of my titles 10%, says Mike. Okay, man, I will definitely keep you in mind for sure. All right. Voodoo, I got lucky, man. You're asking about the name and then how long did it take for me to title this. I was literally standing outside talking to James. I was probably 3/4 of the way through with the book, and I still hadn't come across a name. And then I thought, it seemed like it was so random. I was literally standing in the driveway. We were out there talking. I think he was about to leave after he had read some more chapters. And I thought, I'm thinking of calling this, I think, I was trying to think of because my thought process was blood, Bloodborne. I was thinking like the games and other books, Bloodborne, and, another word, what's another word for blood? I started thinking, and I was like, wait a minute. Crimson Tide, all that kind of stuff, Crimson. And then it literally just almost clicked. Like I said, I think the Crimson God sounds cool. And I just started thinking, and James like, no, it does sound cool. I said, damn, that could be the series name or a book name. So it would be the Crimson God series if I do 2 and 3 and whatever, or any prequels, or even a companion book. I could do a companion book with Thade. I think that's a real possibility, actually. But because you can do a companion book with Thade and have his POV while this whole story is going on, even though you got a couple of his POV chapters in the book. But I think, anyway, the Crimson something, because I know Mizuma, I've already told Mizuma that we have to have, he was disappointed because he read it like 3 times. He really did. But he was disappointed there were no space unicorns. And I told him in the next one, there will 100% be space unicorns. Now, it will be hidden. It will be hidden in some kind of arbitrary line, which I've already gotten. I literally have it, a paragraph, a couple sentences. So we could technically call it the Crimson Space Unicorns. So it's more of an inside joke, but trust me, we'll have to reference it as a joke at least. Crimson Sunrise. Yeah, it depends on where I go, because I don't really have the big plot in my head yet. I do have ideas and like characters, and obviously got the same characters, some of the major ones, and some twists and all that in my head. But I need a direction. Once I get where I'm going, it'll be fairly quick in terms of writing. Lauren, to sell as much as Chris has and to hit number 1 on any list is a massive achievement. Yeah, thank you, Lauren. I really appreciate it. It really is. People really don't understand that authors don't make money. If you make a list on Amazon, look. I understand there's people that manipulate the algorithm, or not the algorithm, but the categories, and literally you could write a book and sell 1 copy or none, and make a number 1 if you put it in the most arbitrary bullshit category, because there's so many. But I legitimately put this in the actual right categories that I thought fit it best. And Medieval was just by far probably the easiest to make, but it did make it. And it wasn't cheating. It wasn't, I didn't put it in notebooks / office organizer books / people do that shit, and it's so easy to do. You literally just send them an email, and they do it in a couple hours. But plus, being from Carolinas and being able to write a book is a huge feat. Of course, Mike. Of course, yes, man. They don't think us rednecks can read. All right, let's see. Oh, yeah, Lauren, 100%. There are millions on Amazon, and for me to break the hardcover, for a couple hours, broke the top 1,000. And that was, I don't know if that was during the pre-order period, because you could go look at all your data on your Amazon author page. It literally broke the top 1,000, and I was like, oh, wow. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, trust me, I've made nothing from this book. But I didn't do it for money. I have not made anything back as far as what I spent on it. But I'm just saying, it did break that, which was pretty cool. So I don't know, like if the next book comes, if I do the next book and I start getting the cover done, I don't know if I'm gonna put from number one or not or from best-selling author. I can't technically. I don't know if I could put number one best because there's a difference between number one best-selling author and best-selling author. If you make the top 100 on a list, you are a best-selling author. If you make the number one, it's a separate thing where you can say number one. I don't know if it hit number one. I never saw it at number one. I saw it at number 5. That was the highest I saw it. Might have been 3. Anyway, it was really close. So it could have technically made it, but I can't go back and see if it hit it. There's no thing to check. It would have to hit it now. Like if people I would think honestly, if I could sell from Amazon, if I sold about 10 to 12 books in one day, I think we would hit number one easy in those categories. Now, I'm not saying in Amazon, obviously. I'm saying in those categories, I think it would be number one, and it would have the little number one tag beside it while, for however long it stayed there. It might be an hour, it might be a day, but if it don't take much, honestly, in some of these categories, and that would be a really good day for books. Trust me. Self-published 4 books, and Amazon is a lot of self-footwork to market a book to make. I've done not as well as Chris has. Mine are poetry, though. I'm super proud of Chris because that shit is hard. It absolutely is, Lauren. And yeah, hey, by the way, I told you this on our messaging. Congrats on your books too, man. Yeah, poetry's a little different for sure, but there ain't nothing easy about writing books. I can tell you that. So Lauren's 100% correct. So thank you, Lauren. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot. Doing master. Cool, man. Very cool. Yes, that would be cool, man. All right. So, Joe Justo, Obi-Wan videos. I don't know, man. I think with maybe some live streams that I can maybe mark private or whatever, but I'm trying to rebuild the channel. And anything other than Game of Thrones / House of the Dragon doesn't work here. You have to be in this niche thing until you're big enough, apparently. So yeah, I want to talk about it for sure because it looks good. But it would probably be a live stream. That's probably what we'll do. Because then we're going to try to build up the live streams again once we get close to House of the Dragon. Once we get trailers and teasers and we got more information stuff to talk about, I want to start doing live streams, and then we're going to obviously do post-show live streams and all that stuff. Okay, so let me take a quick stretcher really quick, and I'll come back before we get out of here. I know you guys need to go to bed and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, book clubs would be cool still, but people can, and that's why you need, I try to get everybody involved on Patreon and stuff as much as possible. And then not just, you didn't have to be on Patreon, obviously. I'm just saying the people that really support me and the channel and everything. And that's the type of things that you need a street team for. You need to have people out there pushing it and helping you out. You can't do it alone. It's so hard, like Lauren's saying. Everything's so hard to do. There's so much to do. It's unbelievable how much there is to do to make. I mean, you're talking about literally. You're talking about. Let's just give you an example. So you have the actual book, right? The writing. I mean. So you have, this is a whole separate thing, right? This is a whole separate company that designs this. The fold, you have to have somebody write this, or you write it. But you pay for your book blurb, which are description. It's not really a blurb. You have somebody design the cover. You have to buy ISBNs. You have to get the pictures made and get this laid out. So you have that part of it. Then you have the actual, somebody makes this cover, the actual hardcover. They have to redo this and put the ISBN there. And then in this case, being a fantasy book, they had to do the half title page. Then they have to do the full title page. And then in my case, I had, and then of course you do your copyright page. That's a separate thing. Then I had a map done by a professional cartographer. And then I had Urtach, who did the most gorgeous artwork. I'm really excited for Urtach. I can't say anything, but you have where I had the formatter put the artwork in here. So you had the formatting. You had 4 rounds of edits. You had so much stuff that made this thing happen. And the writing was not even half of it. Like, I mean, it was literally just, and I'm just saying, it's worth to spend the money, though, to make, because if you don't like the story or not, the book is beautiful. It's a work of art inside and out. And Urtach's artwork really topped it off with the character. So it was so cool, man, to get all this stuff. And when it first came in the mail, when I ordered my copies to check it and everything, it was cool, man. Smoke break. That's right, Joe. All right, so let me take a smoke break. Let me run to the men's room real quick, and I'll come back and see and show you a little glimpse of the little bit I've started writing for other stuff. And again, it will probably change. These are, when you first write, it's just a draft. So give me 1 second, guys, and I will be right back. Alrighty. Okay. All right. Ryan, Urtach Altanaz did the artwork. You probably recognize his style. He got really big. I'll show you. Actually, real quick. He got really big in the Game of Thrones community for doing Game of Thrones artwork, and Urtach Urtatch is in a good spot now. Let me just say that. I can't say anything. It's really exciting. I'm so happy for him. He's become a good friend over the years, and he did this initial stuff. Here, let me put this on display. But this was, he did, like, initially I wanted him to do like a cover, but of course I didn't know at the time that, like, he did this for me. This is when he made me a white. Back in the Game of Thrones days. So he made several YouTubers whites and stuff, and this was me. Even put the hat on me. So you probably recognize this from things, but he did, this is what the Prologue has in, the black and white version. This was an early version here. But you got Wolfpine, the castle, and the Queen's Tower back here, and then this cool, and I actually mentioned this in the book. So once he drew this for me, I actually mentioned that in the book when she comes out riding north, she rides past the tower, and we talk about the river down below later. So I actually kind of went back and added little details where she's actually standing. This is a Shea. So he did all the characters. Let's see, I got all of them here. So you have, that was the black and white ones. These were some of the things I got inspiration from to send him over for, for example, I had these models here. I was like, hey, this girl has the look I want, or the outfit or whatever. So yeah, I had some stuff I'd saved to send to him. This is a model for Gaziel, which is a character that you met in the book as well. She'll be drawn at some point, probably for the next one, or at least the prequels. This was the model for like a Shea, So I had these models I found, but then he did all these gorgeous works. This is Amari. Let's see if I hit. There we go. So this is Amari with the background. So you got the whole full color background here. Come on, give me my arrow. A Shea black and white, a Shea, and so he sent me all these different versions so I can cut them out and use them for things, whatever. Cyric, this is Cyric, the brother, half brother. This is high res digital art. I mean, this is on my wall. This stuff's on my wall. This is one of the final versions here. So fucking good, man. So he became real big in the Game of Thrones community because he did all this Game of Thrones artwork and stuff. So, he did the artwork for me, and then we have in the book. Let me get this back over there. So in the book, you do have. Let's see. Hold on. I got to find my chat again. So in the book, you have like I said, the prologue. And obviously, it has to be a black and white in the book for black. But I have a map done. Then you have the prologue. So there's the scene of Wolfpine. And then every 13 chapters in front of their own chapters, you have, like, for example, there's Amari in chapter 13. I have that at Amari there. And then we have Cyric in front of his chapter. And it's just spread out evenly. And then Shea is back here. And that's all Urtatch. So really cool, man. He really brought him to life. It was so cool, man. Okay, I'm trying to. All right. So anyway, really quick before we get out of here, I'll show. Let's see. Let me find book 2. What about? Okay, I have a general outline I started like I showed you guys before. So this is I just literally have it called. It's literally called the Crimson Gods Book 2. It's not what it's going to be named. I'll show you guys this. So heads up, this is going to be bright. Hold on, I got to move my. If I can find my software, I can move this over. Again, I always have to switch windows here. So if I go back to this, I just literally. It's not much. I have an idea of where I'm going, so this doesn't mean this doesn't. This will definitely change. Let's do the. No. Ah, shit. I didn't mean to do that. View, edit. No, not. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. So I just literally called it book 2 for now. But chapter 1, Ashea. So, we're picking right back up. So I'll give you a little bit. So now you know that you know what it is. It doesn't really matter. But are you going to tell them? Mitch asked hesitantly. Ashea sighed, looking straight ahead. She patted Acorn's neck. I don't know yet. Why would you not? Because I'm a monster, Mitch. I don't think you're a monster, Mitch said, seeming to force a smile. Ashea returned the smile and looked over to Mitch, his eyes still fixed on hers. At least that's what the council and the people in general would think of me, I'm sure. Why would they think that? You're just different now, Mitch said, his tone unsure. People hate what they don't understand. It's why my mother went to the shadows. Besides, people worship them, still do apparently. It could uproot society. Some people want to possess this power. Others will seek to destroy it. Mitch cackled. Listen to you, a philosopher now. Ashea half smiled but didn't respond. I am a monster. She's thinking this, obviously. Anything in italics, she's thinking. Ashea and Mitch were almost to the aisle. They were to meet Amari and Ashburn in a few days. Theodora told them of the secret lair beneath the library. She wanted to speak to the Overlord. But first, I need to see this place. This was another thought. She had met her mother and uncle there before, but had never stepped foot within the tomb of the 13. She had been hesitant to return there. The screams of the 2 men still haunted her dreams from time to time, and the look on their faces seared into her memory. She had seen it in her blood memories many times since. I'll do a little more. She had taken the middle sea this time to Waterside Landing. Mitch had met her at the docks after dusk. The riding had been easy, refreshing even. Tonight was calm. A cool breeze tickled her face. Autumn was upon them. Ashea hesitated but broke the silence. So why didn't you know? Mitch took a drink from his water skin and looked ahead. I don't know, Mitch paused. I was afraid, I suppose. You and me both. Ashea looked over to him reluctantly. So how have you been, considering my father? Yes, I'm sorry, Mitch. Cyric was a monster. She didn't respond for a moment. Yes, I suppose he was. Anyway, there's a little sample of just what I don't have much more there, and then I have also we'll share later. I have a prequel started as well, and anyway, the prequel is I'm more actually excited about that like right now because I have better ideas I think for it, at least right now. So anyway, there's a little taste. Lauren, thank you. Yeah, the hard copy is the most beautiful for sure. Thank you, Ryan. Yes, thank you, Lauren. Damn, if we have, I think Neff earlier said he got one before he ducked out because he didn't want any spoilers. A few people have said I just grabbed one. Hey, we can if we get like 8 or 9 copies in one day, we might move up on the list again because that updates literally every hour. On Amazon as far as like the categories. But yeah, by far, and right, by the way, if anybody has not read it and does want to read it, it's on sale right now on Amazon. I can't control any of that, which is I think is fine. I mean, you have the hardcover for $17 right now, which is like 25% off or whatever, and then the paperback's $10.71 right now. So yeah, I mean, get it if you want it, get it. It'd be cool. I appreciate any support. And again, it does not make money, but that's weird because the hardcover by far, like here's the paperback is awesome. I mean, it looks good. Everything looks good about it. I just love it. It's got the map in it. It's got, I mean, even like you got a letter in the book, and he actually made it a letter. So like I don't know if you can see that. There's a letter written to somebody, and he made it to an actual handwritten letter. So the formatting is it's gorgeous, but there's nothing like a hardcover where you have the actual hardcover too. And I just wanted that plain, that Lotus, and then you have it actually printed on the hardcover, and then the sleeve, the dust jacket, and all that stuff. I just love books and their works of art. So the funny part about it is like if I sell a hardcover on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it doesn't matter. I make like 20-30 cents. A soft cover I make about 80-90 cents, maybe $1 right now because everything's up with paper and all that shit. But then you sell like a ebook, which they look the worst because they can't do the formatting yet. For some reason, they can't do all the cool stuff in an ebook. It's just like a regular blood splotch, chapter headings and stuff. You make like $4 off of those, $3 or $4 or something. But anyway, one last thing I wanted to mention. So yeah, the hardcover is by far the coolest, but it makes the least amount of money. I just want to show you guys, for anybody interested. So this is like some of the first little things. I know you can't see all this. You don't have to read it, but it's just like the three. This was like the 3-act section. I started doing some little plot points there. Not a big deal. This was the first map. This map went from this. So this is what I sketched out literally the first night that I said I'm going to write a book. I had a map first. Now, of course, I went and added stuff to it. So it went from that to what you see behind me, which is, let me actually pull this up if you want. I had a cartographer and a great cartographer's little guild do this map. She was outstanding. Her name's Kel. She's, I believe, in the UK. And she is so good. And I mean, all this stuff was just all this extra stuff you had to do. It's just crazy. But let me see artwork here. So maps. Here's the. So I had like went and did a kind of a version online, and then she did the final. You had a black and white version, but the full color here. It's behind me, but I'll put it up on this display so you can see it bigger. So it went from. Oh, hold on. It went from this. So you kind of see my little sketch there. It went from that, it didn't change that much. So if you can kind of see that, I know it's hard to see, to this. And this is what she did, and it's so gorgeous, man. So you have, and it's obviously fantasy. It helps. You have Wolf Pine over here, the Last Tower. Here's down here. This is the Crescent Isle. So this is where Merrick was in the prologue. Right here in the Whispering Wood and Water's Edge, the Bloody Sands, Old Lucian, Bloodstone, Lachlan. We got Athonia, Chirac, the Boot, Boughton. That's that little town, a little village that Cyric went to over here. If you can see that, it's kind of behind me there. There you go. This is the way they traveled. So they traveled now from Wolf Pine down through here. So, it's just so cool. And then the Middle Sea, and then just these little things that she added here is so gorgeous, kind of like a windrose. But I just wanted to show you some, guys. So, like, I had a couple other versions of that I just sketched out. Because I wanted a different style. Like, I wanted, like, more of a round thing instead of, like, the typical. And then I had these original, like, glyphs, and each one of these... they're just hand sketches, and then I had like the houses beside it and the original vampire that started that clan, and then a little bit of a backstory, and that's literally how I started. And then I got a little more, as far as so each I have all 13 on these. I don't know if you can't see all these, but you can recognize some of these from like the cover and somehow the description. So you got. House Black Sun, and then Vicario, and then there's the House Thorn, and but then Thorell is the original vampire who started that clan. So I have the 13 clans. This is all just sketched out, and that's how it all started. Was this big ass sketch pad right here that I'm holding. So that's how it all started. And then it's really cool to see it become a reality. But anyway. Really cool, man. Had to reference back to now far. Yeah, I tried to get that right, Ryan. I know I couldn't in every instance, but I wanted to make sure that it wasn't stupidly unrealistic for them to do. I wanted to make sure you realize they were on the road for weeks, riding and stuff and camping and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway. I really appreciate you guys saying. We'll get out of here. It's like 12:45. Technically, it's 11:45, but we're back to daylight saving time here in the U.S. Obviously, thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I'll probably keep this. I won't delete it. I'll probably just mark it unlisted or something. I may or not. I don't know. We'll see. Probably won't hurt anything either way. But just because I'm trying to get the channel back to where it was, at least in some level. because I got to start paying bills again. This is not working. So you have to keep everything in one niche, and House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones stuff seems to be it, unfortunately. So I'm kind of trapped. I even got writing videos and advice videos on this channel, and they actually hurt the channel, and I can't do a billion different channels, so whatever. Brooklyn Girl, this is awesome. Keep going. We can't wait for the story to continue. I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate everything, and appreciate you guys hanging out. So anyway, we'll get out of here. Again, as soon as we get some House of the Dragon news, there'll be more videos, and obviously we'll kind of know once we get like a release date, whether it's June or July, or it could be fall. I don't know if they'll go against Lord of the Rings, but I don't think Lord of the Rings is going to be good. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's Lord of the Rings, honestly. But as soon as we get an idea, we'll get back on a regular Sunday night schedule of talking about House of the Dragon, and we'll go into more detail, and we'll talk about the show and all that good stuff. But we'll build that time slot again, and do these more often because I enjoy them and they're fun. So thank you guys for hanging out. Really appreciate it. For those who have read the book, thank you so much. For those who went and bought a book, I really appreciate it. And do me a huge favor if you have read the book, and if you can, once you read it, and I don't care if you liked it or don't like. If you would leave me a review, I'd really appreciate it on Amazon. That really helps new authors. It's about the best thing you could do is leave a review on Amazon. Goodreads, if you have a Goodreads account. I know everybody don't use Goodreads, but Goodreads kind of leads people to Amazon or other places. So be sure to do that if you have a few minutes. I'd really appreciate it. Also, yes, get Quinn's. I wanted to mention Quinn's book, man. I'll show that one more time. It's really cool to see people stepping out of their boundaries and doing something, just taking these risks, man. So Quinn, he did all this. This is Tadia again, Exordium. Really good graphic novel. It's fantasy, dark fantasy. If you like stuff about witches, I'm telling you, this is really cool that Quinn did. So that's Ideas of Ice and Fire. It used to be, now it's Quinn's Ideas. It used to be Ideas of Ice and Fire. So you can grab that on his website. That is, again, QuinnHoward.net. I'll just put the link there. But it's not available right now, but it will be again, he said. Because I asked him, like, hey, I want to shout your book out. But where do I send people? Because it's not on Amazon. That's where it'll be. So support your artists and these small creators and content creators, and I don't care if it's commentary channels, whatever, independent news channels, because all this mainstream corporate bullshit, man, that's all damn politicized, and this is how you support small creators, man. So thank you guys so much. Good night. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll get something soon for House of the Dragon. Steph, no, it didn't look good, and I read the Vanity Fair articles and everything they put. They're not doing Lord of the Rings. They're doing their own thing, and it's more about identity politics. They're literally, they fired the Tolkien scholars. It's just not going to be. It's just not. I don't know. I'm going to give it a chance. They've already literally said what they feel. They've already attacked the fans. They had these pre-written responses because they knew fans would hate it. When you have to focus on stuff like I'm all for diversity and all that kind of stuff, but when you have to focus on it and that's all you care about is like tokenizing people, then you have no story, and they're literally changing everything. Galadriel was not a warrior, for example, in the sense of like armor and fighting with swords. She's a mage, and she's still a badass. She doesn't have to physically fight. She never led no armies in the north. Just a couple of things. I won't get into all that, but anyway, so we'll see. I'll give it a chance, but I hope. I still have some hope, but anyway, I want it to be, because I really, Lord of the Rings is the greatest story ever told. Tolkien, it all started with him, in my opinion, and I just hope they don't just completely. It's not going to be canon, honestly, because they don't even have access to the Silmarillion. We know some of these characters, they're taking thousands of years and making like a couple years, and it just can't. It's not. I don't know. I just don't know. Some of it looked okay visually, But there was some also weird CGI issues too. But anyway, we won't get into Lord of the Rings. We'll do that another stream. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But thank you guys. Thank you for hanging out. And we'll see you next time.